Well, what do you know? I grabbed a burrito and I've got another one. So
I've been thinking about romantic characters a lot that shaped my imagination growing up, and I thought about the Three Musketeers. And I read it when I was 14. I believe I had one of the real editions that include the sexual elements that have been
left out of other translations, but I was about 13 or 14, so I do think some of it went over my head. Here's what I'm thinking about. The Three Musketeers are iconic, heroic, romantic characters. You know, there's the Disney Three Musketeers, and you know, one for all for one.
right. They have a major place in
The collective imagination as sort of swashbuckling heroic characters. But I remembered what I read, and I remembered some really bizarre things about the Three Musketeers. The thing I remembered is that near the end, the Lady de Winter is a femme fatale who murders D'Artagnan's love interest, and they set up a monkey trial, and they essentially murder her in cold blood. And if I remember right, they throw her into a lake, which is a very unheroic thing to do. And this struck me when I was 13 or 14, after what's essentially a brash, adventurous tale full of all kinds of excitement. The way D'Artagnan meets the Three Musketeers, he challenges all three of them to a duel. It's iconic. When they hold the fortress, they agree to hold the fortress for an hour against an army of Protestants, and they have breakfast. They have breakfast under fire to talk about their plans. It's James Bond, really. They're sexually promiscuous, dashing rogues who are everything that would be called toxic masculinity. And I normally kind of roll my eyes at the term toxic masculinity, because that people seem to include traditional kind-hearted people under the label of toxic masculinity. But I almost wonder if the weird thing about Three Musketeers is there are some such unheroic elements to it that this would apply. The other one I had to remember was D'Artagnan essentially raped the Lady de Winter, not through force but through deception. He imitated her lover, and through him by imitating someone else, got her to consent to sleep with who she believed to be her lover. She discovered it was D'Artagnan, and of course she hated him for this. That I did remember that he saw the fleur-de-lis on her shoulder. That was the mark of a felon while he was sleeping with her. Even when I was like 13 or 14, that didn't go over my head. But and so because of her outrage to D'Artagnan, she then kills D'Artagnan's lover. So wait a second, D'Artagnan, the woman that D'Artagnan loves is a married woman. So D'Artagnan wants to commit adultery. While waiting to make his moves on the married woman, he has a sexual tryst with a evil woman, a spy and a murderess, through deception. And I almost wonder, what's the legality of this in Britain and America? And I was surprised that it's generally really hard to convict someone of rape by deception. So gee, I'm someone who sort of sees myself as a bit of an anti-SJW type generally, but score one for the feminists today. I don't think that it's good for you to essentially deceive someone into sex with you, regardless of whether we're talking male to male, female to male, male to male, female to female. But I get the argument that it could be very, very hard to define what deception is, and you'd have this slippery slope to prosecuting. You could say after the fact, oh, this person deceived me, and there need to be protections of people who are innocent, even if that means guilty people sometimes who are. So I have no way to connect this to comics and art whatsoever, except that we have these unheroic characters, these anti-hero characters, have entered into the public imagination as heroic examples of loyalty to one another. And it's really weird. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it just means that after 100 years, maybe everyone will have completely forgotten about all the weird stuff in SJW Marvel comics, and we'll remember the good bits. I don't know. I don't know. Random thought, but somewhat relevant to the thinking about heroism in storytelling. All right, catch you later.